come up. However, this one is buffering for a little while. Hopefully we've got 2 good internet connections, and hopefully no one dropped right at the beginning of the game. Here we go. We are finally in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your players for Game D. Hype it up. In the upper left-hand corner, flying around in that Pax Helix, we've got Solo Wing, his opponent, in the bottom right-hand corner, flying around in that awesome, beautiful Beta Striker with 2 Cardinal Birds. That's some serious flair going on right there, folks. We've got Rambnon, who is instantly going out on a scout to take a look, see what's going on before he even deploys even a single tank. I like this right here, folks. Every player that we've seen so far instantly on Chasm, the second it goes, they're deploying the tanks right away. Now, had he deployed the tanks, they would have already been doing a lot of damage and probably already neutralized this a little bit faster and maybe put him ahead in the battle to take this outpost. But at the same time, he was kind of hanging on to those tanks in case it wound up that maybe he needed them for some sort of cheese or surprise attack or something, so that way he didn't get caught with his pants down. So definitely a different and unique way of approaching it. But I think it was still a pretty good idea. But we'll have to see and make sure that it didn't put him too far behind. Now, Solo Wing, busy shooting into the outpost before anything walks in. Instead of doing something else, eventually those creeps walk in. He is able to neutralize the outpost right down, but however, we've got so many Geminis here on the other side that Solo Wing is not even able to turn the outpost into his color before it's neutralized out, and he was massively counting on that outpost going up into his color. It didn't happen. He's going to rethink his strategy. How's he going to approach this? Bringing out 1 Jackal because #tackles. I have nothing else to say other than #jackals. 19 upkeep to 20 upkeep. Rambnon to an awesome, folks, did you see this? An awesome little pre-prep attack here. However, he is pushing into an outpost that does have additional creeps. However, Solo Wing catches it out, sees it in time. He deploys 2 Jackals out. 2 of the Jackals go down. The other 2 will go down without breaking a sweat at all. Not a single creep is even taken out. Great awareness by Solo Wing. That's why it's so important, folks, to scout. That way you don't get caught with your pants down. Rambnon was all ready to go for it. As you see, he had extra creeps. He thought his Jackal push was going to be enough to do it. He thought he was going to be able to get that outpost and have a great foothold in the enemy territory. In the end, it did not work out that way. And we're really winding up that everything is starting to get heavily concentrated into this middle area. Now, looking at these players, Solo Wing, he's got rollers in his build queue. In fact, he's building one right now. The other things that he has that he can use to his advantage, bombs and Berthas. Bertha's not available till level 6, so he's got a way to go. Meanwhile, on the other hand here, Rambnon, also rollers, also do these guys have identical loadouts? Let's see, we've got bombs, generators, jackals, seekers, rollers, Berthas, ratchets. The only difference, we've got energy guardians for Solo Wing, and we've got repair guardians for Rambnon. Other than that, and the fact that one is in the Striker and one is in the Helix, everything else, even down to their pilot, is the same between both these players. So in a way, if some of you ever wanted to find out who is a better player here, and which mech is potentially a better player, a better mech between a Striker and a Helix, potentially this match might even answer that for you. Solo Wing once again doing scouts, realizing that this little Jackal train is going on right here. He will not be caught unaware on this one. That is why, as always, you always hear from the pro players, whenever people ask these pro players, how is it that you do it? How is it that you win? Why do you always seem to win? What is your secret? The first thing that they will always say is, watch your mini-map more than the main screen and scout. If you do that, then 9 times, I mean, there's still the potential of being caught by some sort of surprise on some area that you didn't scout or didn't see, or somebody built something up too quick. But see, once again, Solo Wing coming in for a scout. He scouts right as Rambnon. He realizes Rambnon had not shown up over at that middle outpost for a few seconds longer than it typically would take. It goes in his head. That's what high-level thinking and playing is. He goes, you know what? I haven't seen him for a few seconds. Something else is going on. Let me take a quick look. Let me see. The worst that it's going to be is I'm going to take a few seconds and just discover, okay, well, more jackals are built up or whatever the case is. But the best case scenario is exactly what happened, which is he catches Rambnon right as he launches those jackals, and he's able to respond and handle it, gets the bombs ready, deploys stuff out. It will be a few times up and down. Rambnon will probably get hold of this outpost for a limited amount of time, but unless Solo Wing makes a lot of mistakes back to back to back, he should be able to get it back. Part of the reason Rambnon, he had 12,000 credits. He should have had more units already ready to deploy, but he didn't. The other mistake that he's potentially making is he's gathering up all his units here on the top, here on the side, making it much easier, especially down here in this area, to bring in units, bring in creeps, bring in soldiers. The only thing that you have defending it is one single jackal at 55 health. That jackal will go down really easy. Meanwhile, Solo Wing, this is what I also say too. Don't be afraid to sacrifice a few credits in order to create a distraction. Solo Wing throws a few jackals out there, uses it as a distraction, and in the process, he's able to quietly move out his main force. Had Rambnon not approached right when he did, he may have not even realized it, but he does approach, he does see it. It looked like, oh, he did actually, it just didn't register him for all of them. He deploys some of his own units in response, and folks, we've got a bit of a race going on right now. We've got up on the top, we've got Seekers, Longhorns, Jackals, and Ratchets all going across the bridge. They've already gotten across the bridge. Meanwhile, Rambnon's forces, which is much less, is just getting across the bridge. What is Rambnon trying to do in order to make up for that? He launches from the outpost sets here, those units much closer, but Solo Wing trying to scout, trying to prep up. He brings down a few jackals. Now, the good thing, once the tanks get here, they're going to focus on the base. Why do I say that's a good thing? Because those jackals would die quickly. Since the fact they're focusing on the base, he's taking a little bit of damage, but it's not that much. The jackals are able to do their job. They're taking it down. In fact, he's so confident that he's got complete control of this, he's going to walk away. Now, folks, how many of you are willing to do that? You're willing to leave tanks, banging on your front door because you already know that you've handled it well enough that you can refocus your attention someplace else. That's also stuff that can start to separate pro play from amateur play. Now, unfortunately, Solo Wing didn't stay with everything. He heads back, probably because he sees this second mass of units coming in. He didn't know what it was, so he figured it was safer to come over, take a look, see what it is, rather than maybe being caught off guard. I mean, at this point, they're level 7. You know, these could have been Goliaths, and at that point, that would have been extremely dangerous for him. So he comes back, he scouts it. Some of his units still survive. They're not going to survive for much longer. But it's kind of a wash, folks. 19 to 18. Both these players are getting back into the game, getting back into position. Yes, Solo Wing has taken about 50% base damage. Meanwhile, Rambnon, maybe only 5%. But Solo Wing is in no way out of this game yet. In fact, he's regaining territory, he's taking back his outposts, he's reclaiming his side of the map. The only thing that's really in any contest is this middle outpost, not heavily guarded also. If done well enough, Solo Wing has a way to get back into this. He's got a lot of units here, he's got a bridge that's completely cleared out over here, and it goes into the enemy territory of this power station that's completely undefended. Can he do it, though, in time? Or will Rambnon realize that all this is going on? He does fly by. He does scout. He realizes, you know, holy crap, there is 23 jackals, essentially, down here. All right, well, he has 4 up there. 19 jackals down here. Solo Wing deploys them. He deploys them on a T. They head to the nearest outpost, which the nearest outpost is the one that's heavily defended by Geminis. This is a potential disaster for Solo Wing. All these jackals are moving in. The Geminis doing their damage. Solo Wing trying to do his own damage. He gets up. He gets out. Will he survive? No, he will not. He goes down. Rambnon secures the outpost. Soloing realizing that this could be the beginning of the end. He's throwing up a GG initially. 15 upkeep to 19 upkeep. It isn't a bad situation. It's still not hopeless yet, though, folks. Now, granted, we have access to a lot of information on the screen that Soloing cannot see. He doesn't realize that it's only 19 upkeep, make that 21 now. He doesn't realize the units that Rambnon has in his loadout or anything like that. There is still a way for him to get back into this, and this is why you never want to just give up. Can he come back? Rambnon, on the other hand, I'm sure getting frustrated with Jackals. I mean, for any of us that have ever played in these types of matches, you all know what I'm saying of how Jackals can get to be extremely frustrating sometimes. That's what Rambnon's going through right now. With another kill under his belt, and taking out most of the units, he's now in a really good position, almost a 2-to-1 upkeep advantage. Soloing just now respawns back into the game. 5 Longhorns in his build queue, though. Actually, Jackal's even been sold off. Soloing realizes at this point that the Jackals are no longer good enough. We've reached 10 minutes into the game. Jackal's a more early game mech. Fantastic prediction by Soloing. Many players, what they would have done, they would have seen that tank line coming. They would have went, oh, he's going to my base. They would have ran all those tanks back to the base. And then the redirection that Rambnon did would have sent those Geminis into a completely undefended outpost. However, Soloing, as if inside the head of Rambnon, realizes that he's probably going to turn them and starts building the defenses here. Now, unfortunately, he could not kill Rambnon. How had he killed Rambnon? He might have eliminated most of these tanks. However, unfortunately for him, Rambnon survives. Rambnon realizes that Soloing is in his head. I mean, these guys are in each other's heads so much. Like, these guys are really... It's a great game between these two players because they are so in each other's heads. Rambnon turns around, stops the tanks before they get in range of the Longhorn. He redeploys them again. This time they are going to the base. Base heavily undefended. The Longhorns are over here. This is also potentially bad because of the angles that they come in. Soloing, there we go. Much better. He shifts the tanks a little bit over to the left. That was desperately needed to have any potential chance of impact. However, Rambnon is here. He's picking up. He's spreading out his units. He's deploying them around the base. First time we've really, truly seen this to full-fledged this tournament. Granted, Rex did it a little bit. But that was about the most redeploy that we saw, but still not enough. Soloing still in this. 20 upkeep to 20 upkeep on both sides. 9 Longhorns out for Solo. 6 Geminis out for Rambnon. If it wasn't for the territorial situation, Soloing would still be in a great position. However, 20 seconds ago before domination. If you're unfamiliar with it, folks, if you really haven't played PvP before, you may not realize this. When your opponent controls every single outpost on the map, you enter into a 30-second countdown to domination. Once that domination hits, it's roughly about every 10 seconds, your base loses 10% of its maximum health. So without you neutralizing an outpost somewhere, you're guaranteed to just bleed out and die. Now, the key to stopping the domination, this is where sometimes there's some misunderstandings. All you have to do is neutralize an outpost. See this outpost right here? It's not under blue control. It's neutral. However, because it's neutral, it's enough that the domination mode has stopped. The base will not continue to take that damage. He can still stay alive, still fight back into this. That's all you have to do. But unfortunately, he has devoted every last one of his tanks just to neutralizing that outpost. And because of that, Rambnon says, opportunity. He sends in another wave of Geminis. This one could be critical. The damage now this time is real. Soloing is trying to respond, but he just didn't have the tanks here in time. None of these 4 Geminis here in the front are being blocked. They're doing so much damage. Finally, Solo King kills Rambnon, something he's been trying to do all game, but it cost him all but 10% of his base health. is it really worth it in the end? Maybe not. Had he redeployed his tanks over to here, yes, he wouldn't have gotten the kill, but Rambnon has still respawned anyway, and he wouldn't have taken quite so much damage. Now, unfortunately, poor Solo Wing, his back is up against the wall. At this point, all Rambnon truthfully really has to do is a few strategic ninja drops. He might be able to get back everything. But folks, we have seen situations even worse than this, and the other player completely fight back and win. I mean, we have seen right here on OPTV a game that Minx was playing. She was down literally to 0% base health. I mean, there was nothing left. You couldn't even see the line anymore. Meanwhile, her opponent had essentially full map control and full base health, and she still came back and won it. So it's never over until it's over. That is what's so great about this game. That's what's so great about AirMech. Now sometimes, yes, you are in a situation that you just can't come back in. Had Solo Wing been a situation where he has 0 upkeep and no money, yeah, there's no way for you to stay alive in that particular situation. But in this case, 33 units out on the battlefield, 2 outposts back under his control. Can he find a way back into this game? Rambnon really doesn't have much. Everything he has, essentially, is right here. If Solo Wing can take this out, really, what else does Rambnon have? He has almost no money. He's essentially broke. 27 upkeep, devoted into 9 Geminis, 2 more out, 1 roller. Now the roller is potential trouble, to say the least. The roller as a damage sponge. 5 Geminis behind it, 1 Ratchet even provided some heal. Ninja drops around. This could be the end, folks. There is a lot that is coming in right now, and that roller will cause the tanks to focus on shooting that down first before the tanks are actually damaging the base, giving all these Geminis an opportunity. However, Rambnon is not spreading the tanks out. 3%, 2%. Can Solo Wing still somehow survive this? Rambnon comes in. He's going to just do it. He makes the kill himself, and after an unbelievable match, really neck to neck, fighting so hard, it will be Rambnon that secures the win and moves on to the next round. But folks, what an amazing game D, and that was just the preliminaries, folks. We have our semifinals, our 3rd place match, and our finals still to come. It's going to be crazy, folks, off the hook. So make sure to not go anywhere. You're tuned into OPTV. I am Steve. All the hype. Stick around. The semifinals will be starting in just a few moments.